Awesome.
All right. Well, good afternoon to everybody who has joined us. Thank you, teachers, students, and all those involved to take a little time this afternoon to hang out with myself and a couple of experts in the outdoor rec field. My name is Jacob Lasko. I am your district manager for JA of the Roaring Fork Valley. We are serving the areas of Aspen through Glenwood Springs and all the way out to the western slope of Parachute and Rifle. So we are definitely at the mecca of the outdoor rec here in Colorado. The panelists today include Ken Murphy, the owner of Adventure Outdoor, as well as Jacob Makula from Colorado Mountain College and their outdoor program coordination. So to give you guys a little context on why we as a team at Junior Achievement thought this panel would be important to you guys. Outdoor recreation actually accounts for about 1.8% of total GDP in America, which comes to a total of about $374 billion. And alone in Colorado in 2020, it was 9.6 billion was the value add of being an outdoor rec, with there being 120,000 jobs available in outdoor recreation here in the state of Colorado. So again, this is an industry that we take seriously. Tourism is big for what we do here in the mountains of Colorado. And so I'm going to give our panelists a chance to introduce themselves, and then we'll jump into some questions. So Ken, I'm going to go ahead and start with you. You're on mute, Ken.
Sorry. Well, thanks for inviting me here. My name's Ken Murphy, and I own Adventure Outdoors, which is a company that offers a variety of outdoor experiences to visitors and locals up here in the mountains. Everything from whitewater rafting to horseback rides, ATV tours, Jeep rides. And then we also manage some high traffic areas for the U.S. Forest Service, Hanging Lake and Maroon Bells being the, and that's more managing the amount of people that visit, how they visit, protecting the environment, and also protecting the experience with the amount of people that want to partake in outdoor recreation.
I like the word protect. I think that's become a very big part of what it means to be an outdoor recreation and being a good steward of the lands that we have. So Ken, again, thank you for your time and joining us. So Jacob, I'll switch over to you.
Awesome. Thanks, Jake. My name is Jacob Makula. I use he, him pronouns, and I'm the Outdoor Studies Program Manager at Colorado Mountain College, Spring Valley campus. And my role is to coordinate a 2-year college degree in outdoor education. And so our goal is to provide classes anywhere from canyoneering to whitewater rafting to wilderness first aid to leadership and facilitation. And our goal is to, bring the people in this degree through a process where they can then go and leave with a 2-year associate's degree, and then enter into the field and start working as guides, wilderness therapists, management in NOLS or outward bound style courses. And so the goal is really to kind of produce some really, really qualified and experienced leaders in the field.
Awesome. So look forward to your insight today as we talk a little bit about outdoor recreation, but again, how students can get themselves ready for that. And so that's actually going to be our first question. And so Jacob, I'm going to let you lead off with this, with your background and what you're doing as a day-to-day career. What are some best practices that students today can do to prepare themselves for outdoor recreation as a career?
Yeah, awesome. And I think, for me, my journey started, I started as a ski instructor when I was 14 years old at a local ski area in my town. And I didn't really know what the industry looked like. And so for me, it was really just a way to have fun being outside with people. And that job kind of brought me into this educational element of outdoor recreation. And for me, that was a really important element, is how do I share this experience with other people? And I think that's what a lot of the industry is right now, is if you're getting involved with this, like, how do we share this connection with people, with the outdoors, with their community? How do they connect with themselves? And some things that worked really well for me is as you kind of move through and follow these veins of curiosity in your journey of, exploring the outdoors and exploring jobs or education, is really balancing the breadth of your experience and the depth of your experience. A lot of times people get into their job and say, I could have been a ski instructor for 30 years and had a great time, and I would have been really, really good at that. But I also wanted to go out and do other things. And so, expanding, I wanted to be a raft guide. So I started doing that. I wanted to get a little bit of management experience, and I started doing that. And that breadth element was really important for me to kind of develop a wide range of skills that I could apply to anything I wanted to do. Another thing is networking. And I know it's kind of a catchphrase nowadays, but really, like, the outdoor education community is really tight knit, and there's a lot of wonderful, wonderful people here. And so I think best practices are just staying in touch with people, thinking what are the new and kind of current industry standards that you're exposed to, because we only have one experience for ourselves, and being able to benefit from other people's experience is really valuable and important.
Great insight there, Jacob. And so Ken, I'll let you kind of take over, because obviously you and Jacob kind of have different paths as to where you are and do different things. So I'd love to hear about best practices you've learned along the way as you ended up being able to run Adventure Outdoors and start that from the ground up.
Well, I originally, grew up outside of America. I'm an immigrant and moved here. Grew up in a city, moved to a city, and then came to the mountains or to the great outdoors for kind of a vacation, and thought, wow, how do I make a living to enjoy everything that's out here? And became a guide, and just love of the being outdoors. And when I started in this career 20 so years ago, there wasn't as many opportunities as there is now. I mean, the outdoor recreation field was quite a small, very seasonal, and there wasn't a lot of full-time year-round opportunities. So I was lucky enough to get in with a company, and as the outdoor recreation field grew, my career was able to grow along with it. So right now, there are so many opportunities for people. I mean, back then it was ski areas in the winter and maybe whitewater rafting in the summer, and that was really it. If you look at the impact of outdoor recreation now, it's not only the ski areas and whitewater rafting, it's hiking, it's camping, it's everything from car camping to get out in the wilderness. And you look at the growth of outdoor recreation retail and how much people want to get out there. If I was to join now into the outdoor recreation and see what opportunities might be available to me, I think that it's a business, and we can't forget that it's a business. So understanding how businesses run and the bottom line, and understanding the staffing and roles, that how important your staff is to your business, that's where it's changed. I think if you look at the group of my generation that's involved in outdoor education, we're very lucky. We got here out of a passion of being here in the outdoors and being really good guides. I think now, yes, we can hire really good guides, but also in the outdoor education, we're hiring accountants, we're hiring front desk, tourism related careers. It's not just being a guide, and it's a wider field and wider opportunities and year-round opportunities for people to be lucky enough to work in the outdoor recreation.
And I think from my seat, looking at what you've done and knowing the time frame when you've done it, Ken, one of the pillars of junior achievement is entrepreneurship, and I think that's what the folks in your generation that run these businesses, you got to be entrepreneurial, because you got to see around you the change and what people wanted as an experience for themselves outdoors. Again, it wasn't just going to be skiing, it wasn't just going to be rafting. There was so much more people wanted to experience outside. So again,
everything, for everything from a quick 15-minute experience to a multi-day experience, outdoor recreation has grown so much, and with that growth then has to come to how do we protect that resource? We've got so many more people getting into the outdoors. And I think one of the most important aspects of being involved in the outdoor recreation is the message of how do we protect the environment? And by protecting the environment, how do we protect the experience? Because if we don't do number one, well, the experience won't be worthy of people wanting to pay for an activity, and then your industry will fall flat. So as the years have progressed, we are protectors of the environment as much as we are as developing careers and industries within the environment.
And in a really relevant point, we actually had a question from Alex asking, both of you guys, and Ken, I'll start with you since you're talking and you kind of started this discussion, but, what are some specific things you do to protect it as a company? What are some goals you have for yourself, or what are some even guidelines that are required of you to use the outdoors?
Well, I think it's called managed use. So, the difference between ourselves and outdoor recreation versus an amusement park, there's only a certain amount of boats or rafts you want to put down the river to create that sort of wilderness experience. If you want to go on a horseback ride, you want to go on a horseback ride with 8 to 20 horses. You don't want to be out there with 150 horses. So it's how we protect our industry is we manage that use. And again, remember, we have, although I'm the boss of my business, I have higher powers, bosses that are above me by running my business. And we work with stakeholders everywhere from the U.S. Forest Service to Bureau of Land Management, Colorado State Parks, and they manage those resources by providing us use numbers. So they say, well, you've got an allocation of how many people you can take into the wilderness, and then we manage that accordingly. The biggest change to our industry is the industry used to be a very short period of time. Let's look as, when schools were out to when schools went back. But now our industry's evolved where we're providing these recreational opportunities year round.
Totally right. So there's no rest. That part of nature does not get that rest period.
Yeah, and also to remember, we used to work for a few months of the year, and generally then the off season where you plan for the next part. Now you're working more and providing more experiences year round.
Totally. And so, Jacob, from the outdoor education standpoint, what are some things that are part of a curriculum that students learn as they explore this career?
Yeah, awesome. Thanks for that question, because I think one thing that our program prides itself on is a very well-rounded experience, and we're looking at the technical skills of outdoor recreation, how to belay, how to lead people and manage risks, how to respond to emergencies. But a huge part of the program, and I think, of making a well-rounded employee in this realm is just also the ethics side, stewardship, and the interpersonal skills. How do you facilitate a conversation about the people who lived here a long time ago before we inhabited this space? And also talking about access to, so I think one of the biggest paradoxes that's come up in the last years with increased use on land management is we want to manage impact on the space, right? There's been so many people out in so many different places. But we also want to increase access to people having these experiences outside that don't otherwise get that access. And so it's this really kind of hard thing to navigate, and we're having a lot of conversations in our classes now about how do we do that? How do we create that balance? But I think dedicating a lot of time to that conversation and that paradox and figuring out how to navigate that successfully is really important. And also just learning the history of recreation in America. I think recreation started off as a very kind of exploitative endeavor, and now we're trying to moving toward this, like, how do we preserve this? Because we really want this to be available into perpetuity, into the future. And so what does that look like for us as people who also need to earn a living here too?
And I think on the topic of change and that switch from exploitation to preservation, we all were thrown a curveball last year, and all of a sudden we had COVID and we had shutdowns and we had people not able to travel and canceling reservations. So Ken, I'll start with you because you're obviously the operator of an entity that was directly affected by this. So what were some responses you had, and what have you now done to reopen safely and allow yourself to operate and bring those experiences to the public?
Well, I think the one aspect of what COVID brought to our industry was we were lucky enough that we were an outdoor industry in the sense of outdoor recreation. One of the safest places to be was outside. So we actually saw some huge growth. And I think there was a lot of people that hadn't experienced outdoor recreation, but then through COVID and through the messaging of COVID of get outside, it's safe to be outside, it drove a whole new market to the outdoors. I think what COVID has done to our industry is obviously brought more people to the outside, which again impacts that experience. And it comes down to that most common, it used to be a buzzword. I don't think it's a buzzword anymore. Sustainability. And I think a lot of universities such as CMC have jumped into this and offered career paths and understanding sustainability. And I think COVID has highlighted how do we sustain our outdoor recreation with this growth of everybody wanting to be in the outdoors. And I think, people thought maybe people might go back to their traditional lives before COVID. Once they got a glimpse of outdoor recreation and outside, I don't see that happening. And I think more and more people are going to be wanting to be outdoors. And now the next question is, how do we sustain our outdoor recreation with this extra volume of people coming from? Colorado is a bucket list. We're so lucky to live here and have our careers here. And so many people from around the United States and from around the world want to come here and experience what's in our backyard, or, whether we're in Denver, Colorado Springs, Pueblo, or up here in the mountains. Outdoor recreation is right outside our back door.
And Jacob, anything to add about the, what CMC went through and your own program? Did you see some changes through COVID?
Yeah, and I think, kind of to piggyback off what Ken said, it was interesting to watch the industry because there were so many industries just kind of crushed by COVID. You look at the kind of the food service industry, hotels, the tourism in general for indoor places was really difficult. It was hard to travel. But outdoor recreation was the one place which we saw skyrocketing numbers. And so, part of our conversation with our students was working with land managers and seeing, they had July 4th weekends every weekend last year at the campgrounds. And so for us, it was kind of a balance of how do we, again, go places where there's not as many people sometimes? And how do we find new locations? And also a big thing for us was outdoor recreation inherently needs gear and equipment. And then a big part of our program a big part of the challenges we faced was finding gear and equipment because the supply chain was so bad. Everyone wanted bikes, everyone wanted kayaks. And so getting equipment for our program was more difficult. And so, going back to the sustainability element, how do we reuse the gear we already have? How do we make the experience happen without all the equipment we need? How do we change kind of what we're offering to folks? So that was definitely two things I noticed this last year, but it's been interesting for sure.
Absolutely. And so, along those lines, let's talk about some trends, right? There's going to be people who listen to this and they want to get into this, but, and I'll start with you, Jacob, because you're the one kind of educating these students. What are some things you're doing to help, them be ready? What are trends that you see? What are some stakeholders you talk to understand how to prepare your curriculums for the students to be successful?
Yeah, I think kind of speaking to what Ken was saying earlier is a lot of times it's great to just hire a raft guide who knows how to raft, but it's better to hire a raft guide who knows how to run a business or who knows how to manage their financials or knows how to market themselves and the program, knows how to take pictures, knows how to facilitate experience for their group that's above and beyond what someone who's just rafting is. So again, creating well-rounded people with a diverse skill set is really, really important. And I think also there's a move in the industry right now towards certifications. And so, again, you can have 20 years of experience as a raft guide, but if you have a swiftwater rescue certification, you're going to look a lot better because the industry standard techniques to go and respond to an emergency situation. So I think in our hiring guides for our program, we're moving more and more toward hiring people with specific certifications and who can stay on top of those certifications is one thing that we're looking at.
I love that. And so Ken, hearing what Jacob's saying about some of these technicality certifications, what are you looking for when you hire? How are you hiring? I know we all hear about labor issues and people not having staff. And obviously we live somewhere beautiful and that makes it really expensive to live here. But in general, in outdoor rec, what are some things you're looking for when you hire?
Passion, generally, and that's what we're really lucky about our field. I mean, we're generally people who want to get into outdoor recreation or end up in tourism, have a love for the outdoors or a love to educate people about the outdoors. There's nothing great about taking a family, and I call it the urban family that's never been on a river trip or never been on a camping trip, and now you get to take them on that experience, that once off, and be able to educate them on that. A passion, as I said. The other one is understanding risk management. As our industry has grown, just like everything else in the world, we have to be conscious of risk management, make wise decisions, and also understand that it's a business. So love of the outdoors, but also the IT component. Our industry has grown so much on people, used to make phone calls and ask about river trips. They're doing everything online. So it's important. Your website is so important. We talk about photography, videography. We talk about, HR. We're a company that have now over 185 staff during peak time. So having your managers aware of HR components and marketing your company, there's a lot of competition out there. This industry has grown. So I think backing up what Jacob said, that well-rounded individual that got a passion for the outdoors, but also brings other attributes to the table that we have. We have engineers that work for us that don't want to be in the engineering field, but they bring a thoughtfulness and a process to our industry that was needed in our industry. And we know we have accountants, numbers, crunching the numbers, making sure what trips are financially better for a company than other trips. And then, working government, understanding how government works, because we are, as an industry, we work with government or federal agencies every day, and understanding the process of government and how government works. And it changes when there's one party in power versus another party in power, and understanding what's accessible to outdoor recreation.
A moving target nonetheless,
Exactly.
every couple of years for sure. So I want to kind of change gears, have a little fun with you guys, because obviously I think, hearing your backstories is one thing, but what was a career you actually envisioned yourself doing when you were younger, right? And Ken, I'll go ahead and let you start with that. You are an immigrant. You came here. You lived in big cities. So what did you think you were going to end up doing?
Initially, I thought I was going to be a PE teacher, physical education teacher, and that's what I thought. And then I switched my major to sports psychology and ended up working for the NCAA over here, actually, and worked in Boston. And never, because of where I came from, I'm originally from Ireland, we don't have snow and mountains like over here. So I'd never skied. And at age 25, I thought, let's go on a week ski vacation and learn how to ski. Came out here and thought, wow, first of all, there's more to America than the East Coast, and saw the mountains and thought, well, how do I make a career here? And how do I learn how to ski more and be involved? So I literally quit my job, moved to the mountains, got a job with the ski areas, and worked in tourism in the outdoor area. And then, was the ski employee in the wintertime and learned how to be a raft guide. And then at some point, you realize that what's the next step? And that's where the marketing and business background and sports psychology background became involved. And I got involved in marketing a company that I was working for, and working for the marketing department in the ski area. And then, as I say, lucky enough to be able to start my own business and build from there. And again, the industry was growing, it was evolving. It was, we were at the cusp. I was lucky enough to be at the cusp of when outdoor recreation was about to take off. And I've been lucky enough to ride that wave for the last 20 years to where we are now, where it's, as you started off with your numbers, it's big business. Not only in the sense of just providing the recreational opportunities, but think about all the gear, as Jacob pointed out, that goes with outdoor recreation. And I think it's important to note that we don't want to make outdoor recreation exclusive. So that's sustainability and being able to provide outdoor recreation opportunities for all demographics and income levels, and providing recreation opportunities for all different income levels and all different areas. And that's like the whitewater event. Not everybody wants to go through big rapids. It's also they want to get out there and do a nice scenic float trip. So providing, not only access to the outdoors, but also providing variety of choices to the outdoors. And that's where we are so important, working with the Forest Service and Bureau of Land Management and state parks.
Absolutely. I love the story, and yeah, discovering the mountains from an Irish boy must have been a thing for sure.
Oh yeah.
So Jacob, what about you? How did you, where did you want to land before all of a sudden you landed where you are?
Yeah, it's interesting that originally, when I started off my journey as a ski instructor at 14, I was looking to kind of how to do that for the rest of my life. I was like, I could be a ski instructor forever and ever and ever. And so I was looking at academic programs and actually went to CMC for outdoor education up in Steamboat Springs because it was a really affordable way to get a degree and I could work it off as I went to school. And I was originally going to transfer and dive into snow science and look at avalanche forecasting. And that was my passion. And then I realized it was a very, very niche specific thing. And instead of like zooming in on this one thing, I wanted to zoom out. And so I studied sustainability, but I always kept this lens of outdoor education, outdoor recreation. And for me, that journey was about how do we use outdoor recreation to make a change in the world? And if you think about like the word recreation, it's literally just recreation, right? How do we recreate the way that people experience the world around them? And like what Ken was saying is like, it's a beautiful thing to be able to take an urban family out and raft for a day. And like, what is their goal at being out there? And it feels so good to get them out and connecting with the environment, connecting with each other, connecting with themselves. But also then what are they going to take from that experience? And I think that's where I'm at right now. And that's my passion now is like, how do we instill lessons as part of recreation that people will then take that experience back to wherever they came from and have it change their lives? And that's like the meaty good stuff for me. That's the passion right there.
And your passion obviously flows over here, and I feel it with all the energy you put into this. So, and you talked about affordability, you talked about CMC and Steamboat. So I think the one question we haven't covered that I think will be important for the students listening in, what are some ways that they can fund their education? And so Jacob, I'll start with you. You work at CMC and you've in academia. So, what are some ways students can do that?
Yeah, and I think, a great option is looking at local affordable community college experiences, especially, I don't want to, hammer CMC here, but it was a great experience for me because I could work my way part-time working as a ski instructor and also at a restaurant. And I got through 4 years of school with no debt. And I got out of that and I had a great job working at a local environmental education nonprofit right after school. And that helped kind of jump forward and leaving school with certifications. I had my wilderness first responder certification. I had my outdoor emergency care certification, and leaving an academic experience with, not only just the thoughts and the ideas and the network and the people I met, but also certifications and a job and no debt. That was pretty incredible. And there's also funding available for that type of experience. You can get financial aid. There's also, I think, scholarships for folks who are, not in the traditional, demographics that experience the outdoors. There's always scholarships available for certifications or for trainings. So a lot of times you can find opportunities to go and take a wilderness first responder or take a mountain bike education course. And so I would definitely like looking out for those as a really valuable tool too. Awesome
points. And so Ken, like I said, you had a different path. You were doing the sports medicine, the PE teacher stuff. So, but talk about your experience getting funded and ways that you learned, how to get through college as easily as possible.
Well, I took my passion of wanting to be outside, and I had a summer job that was outside, working in tourism. And I took that because my college degree had nothing really got to do with outdoor education, or in a sense of sports psychology. I think when you look at the individuals we're hiring, I have about 60% of our hirees every summertime are college students, and they're actually, studying everything from engineering to med school to, but they're taking their passion for the outdoors, and it's a fun summer job for them to help fund through college. I think the goal is to do something you love. And then if you do something you love and you've got the passion for it, then it's never a job. Like, I go to work every day, and I love going to work. And I've been doing this for 20 years, and there's not a day go by. And I think that is the key is why does it have to be a job? It's not a job when you go to work and you love it every day. So if you like the outdoors, but you still don't know if you really want a career in the outdoors, get a summer job in the outdoors, see what it's all about. And then you may realize really quickly that you can use your engineering, your degree, your mathematics degree, to work in our industry, because that's so valuable to our industry now. We have folks working from us that had no idea they were going to work in the outdoor education, went down a different path, and then now they are in the outdoor industry because they've taken their love of their weekend job and put it into a Monday through Friday. I think that's also important to note that our job doesn't have a Saturday, and we don't have a Sunday. Every day is a Saturday. We work holidays. We work when everybody else is on vacation. So there's a little bit of sacrifice. But again, we get to go outside and look at the mountains and be involved every day. And I think that's special. We don't get an elevator into work every day.
I think those are really important little last tidbits you gave there. I mean, outdoor rec, you are recreating outdoors when you're on vacation, but that means somebody is not on vacation. And that's the folks that Ken has, and that's the folks Jacob is trying to get through their college to get out into that career. So somehow we just blew through 30 minutes. I'm not sure how that went so fast, but on behalf of Junior Achievement, I do want to thank Ken and Adventure Outdoors, and I do want to thank Jacob and Colorado Mountain College for giving us some of their time, and of course, a lot of great insight today to our students as they continue to prepare themselves for what they want to do next.